Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi Masechet Bava Batra. We are up to Perek Tet, Mishnah Tet. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'elu Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana, Ranbai, Veliyahu ben Burcha Israelov, Chana ben Miriam, Sason ben Raya, and Yoshua ben Shifra, Menuchatam began Eden, Amen. And Leavdi ben Chaim Lechaim, and the Refuah Shelemav, Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, Betok Shachole Israel, and the Achlama Merav ben Amin, Od Sion Chai ben Dvorah. This Mishnah discusses the second case where an accident caused the death of two people, but we are not sure in what order they died. Nafal habayit alav v'al ishto, a house fell on a person and his wife, killing them both, but it is not clear which one died first. This doubt causes the following argument regarding the properties of the wife. As the Mishnah will explain below, there are several types of property that are included in the wife's estate, and there are different laws that apply to each one. The heirs of the husband, for example, his sons from another wife claim, the wife died first and the husband died afterward, therefore the husband inherited the wife when she died, and her property now belongs to us, for we are the husband's heirs. As we learned earlier in chapter 8, Mishnah 1, a husband inherits his wife if she dies while they are married. In the Mishnah's case, the husband and wife did not have any children together, for if they had, those children would inherit the wife's property, no matter who died first. But the heirs of the wife, for example, her father or her sons from another marriage claim, the husband died first and the wife died afterward, therefore the husband never inherited his wife's property, and it now belongs to us, for we are her heirs. A husband does not inherit his wife in the grave, meaning if she dies after him, to pass the inheritance onto his heirs. Therefore, if the husband dies first, his heirs have no claim to her property. The Mishnah cites a dispute between Tanaim as to who receives the wife's property. In this case, there can be three types of property in the wife's disputed estate. Number one, melog property. This is property that the wife kept under her own ownership during her marriage, whose value is not recorded in her ketubah. The husband is entitled to use the wife's melog property during their marriage, but he is not responsible for its value. Two, tzon barzel property, the value of which is recorded in the ketubah when she is married. The husband takes responsibility for the assessed value of tzon barzel property and must pay her that value should he divorce her or die before her. And three, the amount of her ketubah itself, 200 zuz for a standard marriage, plus any additional sum the husband committed to pay, which the wife is owed once the husband dies. The Mishnah first cites the opinion of Bet Shammai. Bet Shammai omrim yachloku. Bet Shammai say the heirs of the husband and the heirs of the wife divide the wife's properties. Since it is not known who died first and both sets of heirs have equal claim to the estate, they each receive half of it. According to Bet Shammai, the properties are not considered to be in the presumed possession of either set of heirs more than the other set, since at the time of the accident, the wife owned the malog and tzon barzel properties, but the husband had the right to use them. Therefore, their claims to the properties are considered equal, and they divide the properties. The Mishnah now cites the opinion of Bet Hillel, who rules separately on what is to be done with each of the three types of property that the Mishnah speaks about. Bet Hillel omrim nechasim becheskatan, but Bet Hillel say that some barzel property remain in their presumed status. Bet Hillel do not explain whether they mean that the tzon barzel properties are presumed to be in the status of belonging to the heirs of the wife because she owned the properties, or whether they are presumed to be in the status of belonging to the heirs of the husband because he had guaranteed their worth and was responsible to pay for them if they decreased in value. Therefore, the Rav explains the practical ruling according to Bet Hillel too is that the tzon barzel properties are divided between the wife's heirs and the husband's heirs. Ketubah becheskat urshe abal. The ketubah remains in its previous status of belonging to the heirs of the husband, since the husband certainly was in possession of the ketubah property up until the time that the accident took place. The property that would have paid for the ketubah obligation itself certainly belonged to the husband at the time of the accident, and as such it would have been inherited by the husband's heirs. Therefore, the heirs of the husband are considered to be in possession of that property, and the heirs of the wife cannot take it from them unless they prove that the husband died first. Bet Shammai, however, hold that a debt that is recorded in a document is considered to a certain extent as if it were already collected, and therefore, in their opinion, the heirs of the wife are also considered to be in possession of the ketubah. Therefore, they rule that the ketubah too is divided between the two sets of heirs. And the properties that enter and leave the marriage with her, the malog properties, remain in their previous status of belonging to the heirs of the father, which is another way of referring to the heirs of the wife. Maluk property is described as properties that enter and leave with her because the husband does not guarantee their value, and when the marriage ends, the wife takes the property as it is and leaves. So according to Bet Hillel, the wife is considered to be in possession of the Maluk property because A, she owns the property, and B, she is responsible for any change in its value. Therefore, the property is awarded to her heirs, not the heirs of the husband. So according to Bet Hillel, the wife of the heirs receive all of the wife's Maluk property and half of the Tzom Barzel property, while the heirs of the husband receive half of the Tzom Barzel property and the Ktubah. The property of the wife comes in most cases from her father. Therefore, her heirs are referred to here as the heirs of her father. The term heirs of the father is also used here to parallel the similar Mishnayot in Mesechet Yevamot and Mesechet Ketubot. And that is then of Mishnah Tet. The final Mishnah of the chapter, Mishnah Yud, discusses a third case of an accident in which two relatives died. Nafal habayit alav alimo, a house collapsed on a person and his mother, killing them both. But we do not know which one died first. The mother was not married at the time of the accident, and the son who died with her was her only child. The mother's estate is claimed by two sets of heirs. The heirs of the mother, her father, or siblings claim that the son died first, and then the mother, so that the son did not inherit the mother before he died, and therefore they should receive her property. The heirs of the son, for example, his half-brothers from the same father and a different mother, claim on the other end that the mother died first and then the son, so that the son inherited his mother's estate before he himself died, and he passed it on to them when he died. If the son was alive when his mother died, and she was not married at that time, he is her closest heir, and he inherits her before her father or siblings. But if he died before her, he does not inherit her in the grave to pass inheritance to his heirs, like we learned. The Mishnah first cites a view that Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel, who disagree in each of the two cases in Mishnah 8 and 9, do not dispute what is to be done in this case. Elu ve'elu modim she'achloku. Both Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel agree in this case that they divide the mother's estate, since in this case both of the sides have equal claims, and there is no reason to consider the mother's estate as having been in the possession of either one. Even Bet Hillel agree that they divide the estate equally. In Mishnah 9, where the house fell on the husband and the wife, the various types of property in the wife's estate were considered to be in the possession of either the wife or the husband, and this caused Bet Hillel to rule that they should be awarded to either the husband's or wife's heirs rather than dividing them equally. In this Mishnah, however, the estate was certainly in the possession of the mother, and the person who stood to inherit it was her son, who is now dead. Each set of heirs is claiming that they are entitled to inherit the estate, and neither set of heirs has the benefit of being considered in presumed possession of the estate. So for this reason, Bet Hillel agree that the estate is divided between them. Another Tana, however, does not agree. Amar Rabbi Akiva, but Rabbi Akiva said, Modeh ani bazeh she'nechasim becheskatan. No, I quote-unquote agree that in this case too, Bet Hillel will argue with Bet Shammai and rule that the property remains in its presumed status of belonging to the heirs of the mother. Rabbi Akiva is not agreeing with the first Tana. He uses the language of agreeing only to parallel the language used by the first Tana. Rabbi Akiva reasons that while the mother was alive and after her marriage ended, she and her estate were in the presumed state of belonging to the tribe of her father. A woman is considered to belong to the family of her husband when she is married, and the family of her father when she is unmarried. This is enough to give the advantage to her heirs who are from her father's family, unlike the heirs of her son who belong to the tribe of their father. The son, as well as his heirs, who are his paternal relatives, belong to the tribe of the father. It does not matter if the father and mother are from the same tribe. The point is that the mother, when she is no longer married, has a closer connection to her father's heirs than she does to her son's heirs. Therefore, Rabbi Akiva holds that in this case, Bet Hillel would not divide the estate, but would rather award it to the heirs of the mother. Another Tana is dismayed by Rabbi Akiva's statement. Amar lo Ben Azai. Ben Azai said to Rabbi Akiva, Ala chalukin anu mitztarin ela shebata lachlok alenu et hashavin. We are already in pain by the cases in which we know that they argue, meaning in the previous two Mishnayot. And now you come to make them argue where they seemingly would agree, telling us that they argue in this case as well. Ben Azai agrees with the first Tana that Bet Hillel and Bet Shammai do not argue in this case, and would agree that the mother's estate is divided equally by the two sets of heirs. According to Ben Azai in the first Tana in the Mishnah, the closer tribal connection of the mother to her father's family is not enough of a reason to consider the mother's estate to be in the presumptive possession of her heirs. And the Rav tells us that Rav follows the opinion of Rabbi Akiva that the property remains in the presumed state of belonging to the heirs of the mother. And that is in the Batra of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.